Hello everyone. Today we are going to start lecture 01 of class 8 mathematics chapter number 2, which is linear equations in one variable. Before understanding what are linear equations in one variable, let us introduce the concept of linear equations. And before understanding what are linear equations, we should understand the word called equation. So what does this word equation means? So what is an equation? So you can define it as a statement of equality. That is a statement involving an equal sign, a statement of equality which contains one or more than one unknown quantity, which is also known as variables, unknown quantity, or you can call it variable. One or more than one variable is called an equation. So you can say that a statement of equality which contains one or more variable is called an equation. So let us take some examples. 7x plus 8 is equals to 5. Again, this is an equation because it contains a variable, one variable which is x, and it contains an equal sign. Okay, so according to this particular definition, this is a equation. You can also have x square plus y square equals to 5. Again, this is also an equation because it contains variables. There are two variables now and there is an equal sign, therefore it is also an equation. You can have x square plus 2x is equals to minus 2. Again, this also contains some variables. It has only one variable but is repeated two times, okay, with different powers, and also it contains an equal sign, therefore it is also an equation. Okay, so this is what an equation means. That is an expression involving some variables and an equal sign. Now let us define what are linear equations. Okay, that is, what do we mean by linear equations? So let us define what is a linear equation. An equation involving only linear polynomials. Now what are polynomials? We are going to talk about them in this lecture, but for the time being, an equation involving linear polynomials, an equation involving only linear polynomials is called a linear equation. Okay, so an equation involving only linear polynomials is called a linear equation, right? Now what do we mean by the word linear? The word linear means one. And what is polynomial? A polynomial is an algebraic expression which involves some variables, right? Again, linear means one and polynomials mean an algebraic expression. So what does linear polynomial actually mean? It means that it involves variables whose highest power is 1. For example, let us take some example of linear equation so I can explain it easily. Let us take again this example, 7x plus 8 is equals to 5. Clearly it is an equation and this equation involves some variable, right? Now this variable has its power as 1, which is the highest power, okay, and that is why it is called linear, because its power is 1. So this simply means that this expression, that is x square plus y square equals to 5, is not linear because it has variables whose highest power is more than 1, that is 2. Also in this expression also the variable has its highest power as 2. It is not 1. The highest power should be 1, and that is something called a degree of polynomial. Okay, the highest power of variable appearing in an expression is called degree of that expression or that polynomial. So you can have another example as 7y plus 8 is equals to 0. Again, it is a linear polynomial because degree of this polynomial is 1. So let me define what do we mean by the word degree. Okay. Degree of a polynomial. So what is degree of a polynomial? You can have highest power. Degree of polynomial is the highest power of a variable. Highest power of a variable appearing. Highest power of a variable appearing in a polynomial is called degree of the polynomial. So what is degree of polynomial? Highest power of polynomial. That is, you can say for this polynomial, what is polynomial? An equation involving some algebraic expressions, right? That is x and y, that is variables. So this polynomial, this is also a polynomial, x square plus y square, and since it is an equation, so you can call it a polynomial equation, right? So what is a polynomial equation? It is a quadratic equation. Now why are we calling it quadratic? Because in this the highest power of variable is 2. Since we call the highest power of variable as 1, then we call it this equation as linear equation. So this is a quadratic equation. So we use the word quadratic when the highest power of variable is 2. To understand it better and to understand what actually a polynomial mean, let us classify the polynomials. Okay, so classification of polynomials can be done on 3 grounds, that is on 3 bases. So this is on the first basis, that is on the basis of degree. That is on the basis of degree of polynomial, right? On this basis, polynomials can be classified as first constant polynomial. We also have zero polynomial, which is nothing but 0. So we are not going to talk about it here. First we have constant polynomials. Okay, let us denote polynomial by this. So constant polynomial is one whose degree is equals to 0. So what are some examples of constant polynomials? Like 5, 7, minus 8, etc. So these are some examples of constant polynomial. Now you'll say, sir, why it is polynomial? Because it does not contain any variables. So let me give a reason here. You can write 5 as 5 into x to the power 0. So 5 into x to the power 0 is a constant polynomial because it do not contain any variable. You just have written for the sake of showing it as a polynomial. So it is a constant polynomial and will have degree 0. Then we have something called linear polynomial, which we are going to study. Linear polynomial. Now as the name suggests, what is linear polynomial? In this, highest power of variable, that is degree, is equals to 1. See, here there was no variable at all, so the power of variable was automatically 0, and here the highest power should be 1. So you can have some example as ax plus b. This is a linear polynomial where a and b are real numbers. Okay, they can be anything. So a linear polynomial is of the form ax plus b. For example, you can have 7x plus 8. Okay, it is a linear polynomial. Now if you insert an equal sign and something on the right hand side of the equal sign, then it will become a equation, right? It will become a linear equation. For the time being, it is just an expression. It is not an equation because it does not contain any equal sign, and that is why it is just an expression. And which kind of expression it is? It is a linear expression. Okay, similarly 5x is also a linear equation, right? Because the highest power of variable is 1. Then we have quadratic polynomials. Clearly here degree of polynomial is equals to 2, right? So you can have examples as the general form of this quadratic polynomial is ax square plus bx plus c. Now what do we mean by the general form? That generally you can write a quadratic polynomial as maximum s of 3 terms, because if you again start adding some more terms, then it would be either of x square, it would contain either x, or it would contain either a constant, so you can add them, right? So here A, B, C are all rational numbers and A should not be equal to 0, because otherwise it would not be quadratic, because this term will become 0, right? So you can have example as 5x square. Okay, you can have as 5y square plus 7y. It is also a quadratic equation. Why? Sorry, it is a quadratic polynomial. It is not an equation. Why? It is quadratic polynomial because the power of highest variable, sorry, the highest power of variable is 2. That is, for a polynomial, the highest power of variable decides its degree. Similarly, we can have quadratic polynomial, we can have cubic polynomial with degree equals to 3, we can have biquadratic polynomials with degree equals to 4, and so on. Okay, so we are only concerned with linear polynomials. Okay, we are only concerned with linear polynomials. So now you can clearly see what is linear polynomial. So this was the classification of polynomial on the first basis, that is on the basis of degree. Now let us classify the polynomials on another basis, that is on the basis of number of terms. That is, how many terms does a polynomial have? We can have zero polynomial which do not contain any term at all, but for starting we have monomial. Now what is monomial? Mono means one. Okay, it contains only one term. So number of term is equals to 1. Number of term is equals to 1. For example, you can have 5x, you can have 7y square, you can have 8x cube, etc. Now all these are polynomials having only one term, right? You can see there are no plus and minus, therefore there are no other terms which are connected to them. So these are single term polynomials, or we can call them monomials, right? So all these are monomials. Clearly they do not have any condition on the degree, so it is a linear monomial, it is a quadratic monomial, and it is a cubic monomial, right? So now we know the names of these terms, these polynomials. Then we have binomials. What are binomials? Clearly bi means 2, so they have number of terms is equals to 2. Example of binomials: ax plus b, right? Where a and b are both real numbers. You can have 2x plus 3y, you can have 3x square plus 7x, etc. Clearly all these polynomials have different degrees. This is a quadratic polynomial, this is a linear polynomial. Now why am I calling them polynomial? Because any algebraic expression having two or more than two terms can also be called as polynomial. In polynomial, the word poly means many. Okay, so this is generally what it is. It is a linear binomial. Since its degree is 1, that is linear. Okay, so on the basis of degree, its name is linear. On the basis of number of terms, its name is binomial. Okay, so it is a linear binomial. Similarly, on the basis of degree, its name is quadratic polynomial, and on the basis of number of terms, its name is binomial. So this is a quadratic binomial. Similarly, we have trinomials. In which number of terms are 3. Okay, after that we call everything as polynomials, because two or more than two terms can have polynomials, right? So if an expression contains 3 terms, it is called trinomial. For example, 3x square plus 3y plus 8x, right? Again, this contains 3 terms. Again, you can have 5x square plus 7x plus 9, right? So in this way you can write a trinomial. Clearly on the basis of degree, name of these both polynomials are quadratic polynomials. Now on the basis of number of terms, they are trinomials, so they are nothing but quadratic trinomials. Okay, so again we are going to study linear equations in one variable. So we have talked about what are linear polynomials. Now Clearly you can see a linear polynomial can at most have two terms, right? A linear polynomial can have two terms. So now let us classify these polynomials on another basis. Okay, so we have studied two classifications on the basis of degree and on the basis of number of terms. Now let us classify the polynomials on another basis, which is on the basis of number of variables. So on the basis of number of variables, polynomials can be polynomials in one variable. Okay, there can be polynomial in zero variable, which are nothing but the constant polynomials because they do not have any variable. So let us start with polynomial in one variable. Okay, they have only one variable, so you can directly name the examples as, let us take 8x plus 7. Okay, this is a binomial, this is a linear binomial, but it is a linear binomial in one variable. Okay, similarly you can have 8x square plus 7x plus 8. Again, it is a quadratic trinomial. Okay, on the basis of degree its name is quadratic, on the basis of number of terms it is a trinomial, but in terms of variable it is a quadratic trinomial in one variable. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to study these are linear polynomials in linear binomial in one variable, right? If we add an equal sign and add something on the RHS, we will get a linear equation. Similarly, we have polynomials in two variables. For example, we can have 7x plus 8y, or we can have 7x square plus 6y square, etc. Clearly these polynomials have two variables, x and y, so they are polynomial in two variables. Similarly, we can have polynomial in three variables. Now what are polynomial in three variables? And it is a polynomial which involves three different kind of variables, that is three unknown quantities. For example, 2x plus 3y plus 4z, or you can have xyz, etc. Now on the basis of degree its name is linear. It is a linear. What linear? Trinomial, because it has three terms. And what is it? Is a linear trinomial in three variables. So you can understand the name of the chapter now, that is linear equations in one variable. That is we will have linear polynomials in one variable, and we will just add an equal sign and a value on the right hand side. So these were the classification of polynomials. Now let us come to the main topic, which are linear equations in one variable. So let me give you an example of a linear equation in one variable. Let me explain different terms on it. So let us take 2x minus 3 is equals to 7. Let us take this as the linear equation in one variable, right? Now in this linear equation one variable there are various things. First of all, this itself is an equation, okay, and this equal sign is the equality. What is x? X is the variable in one variable. So what is that one variable? It is x. Okay, this complete 2x minus 3 equals to 7 is called equation. Then there are two more things, which is LHS and RHS. Now what is LHS? Let me define LHS. LHS equals to left hand side. Okay, what do we mean by the word RHS? It is right hand side. In this expression we have both LHS and RHS. Now what is LHS and RHS? Left hand side, right hand side, but who's left and who's right? This equal sign. Okay, this equal sign is taken as to be the center of the equation, and whatever there it is, whatever expression is on the left side of this equation is called LHS. So here I can say here LHS is equals to 2x minus 3. Okay, and what is RHS? Anything, any kind of expression towards the right of this equal sign is called RHS. So here RHS is equals to 7. Okay, so in linear equations in one variable there are always something called variables. Okay, and it will only be one variable. Here it is x, you can take y, you can take z. It will already contain an equal sign because it is an equation, and also it will contain LHS and RHS, that is both. On the left hand side and both the right hand side there will be something on the equation. So this is linear equation in one variable. I hope you all got the point. Okay, now where do this equality hold? That is it true that 2x minus 3 is equals to 7? Because x is an again alphabet, it is a variable, we do not know the value. Yes, it can be true, and when the equality holds we will have LHS equals to RHS, and the value of x on which this equality holds is called solution, which we are going to study in the next lecture. Okay, so that is all for this lecture. Thank you for watching the lecture till end. We'll meet in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.